Kilgara. In a land of myth, and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young boy. His name, Merlin. King's Palace, battlements, day. Arthur and Uther watch from the battlements as kings arrive with their entourages. Arthur. Father, we're not going into battle, you don't have to look so somber. Uther. Never before have the rulers of the 5 kingdoms come together in this way. Never before have we all worked towards the same aim, towards peace. If these talks are successful, Camelot will enter a new era of prosperity. If they fail, we will almost certainly be at war. King's Palace, main square, day. Aligned drops his cloak on the ground as he dismounts in the square. King Aligned. Boy. Is it too much to ask that you might anticipate my needs? Trickler. No, master. I was just. King Aligned. Stop whining. Trickler. Sorry, master. Uther. Aligned, you are most welcome on this momentous occasion. They grasp arms. King Aligned. Momentous. Let us hope so. King's Palace, Aligned's guest chambers, day. Aligned watching Olaf's party arrive in the square from his guest quarters. King Aligned. Uther may think that we are gathered here for peace, but that is far from my mind. Trickler. Am I to take it that Lady Vivian is part of our plan? She is very lovely. King Aligned. Don't let her father hear you say that. Not if you value your head. Trickler. Oh, indeed, I do. It is my prettiest feature. King Aligned. Olaf is the most overprotective buffoon I've ever met. It would surely end the peace talks if anyone were to lay a finger on her. Trickler. But nobody in their right mind would do that. King Aligned. But Arthur won't be in his right mind, will he? King's Palace, main square, day. Olaf approaches Uther. King Olaf. What kind of welcome is this? You have us hanging around like the last swallows of summer. Uther. You are welcome, indeed, Olaf. King Olaf. May I present my daughter, the Lady Vivian? Uther. Lady Vivian. How like your mother you are. King's Palace, Vivian's guest chambers, day. Arthur escorts Vivian to her guest chambers. Arthur. I hope everything is to your satisfaction. Lady Vivian. It is. Adequate. Arthur. Most of our guests are extremely happy here. I'm sure you will be, too. Lady Vivian. I am not most of your guests. Arthur. Indeed. Gwen enters. Arthur. Well, may I present Guinevere? She'll be looking after you for the duration of your stay. You'll want for nothing. She is truly one of Camelot's finest. Lady Vivian. Giggle. Then I fear for Camelot. Arthur and Gwen look shocked at Vivian's rudeness. King's Palace, outside Vivian's guest chambers, day. Arthur and Gwen pause as they exit and close the door behind them. They look at each other and laugh. Arthur. Good luck with that one. Gwen. Arthur stares at her for a bit before she notices. Arthur remembers himself and starts to leave. Arthur. I need to prepare for the feast. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Merlin's brushes down Arthur's jacket while Arthur dresses behind a screen. Arthur. Merlin, what kind of impression do you think this gives? Arthur wiggles his thumb through a hole in his sleeve. Merlin. That we have moths. Arthur. Fetch me another. Merlin. And who might you be trying to impress, sire? Arthur. Well, let me see. Perhaps the 5 kings sitting in the banquet hall below. Merlin. Oh. Not the king's daughter, then? The Lady Vivian, she is very beautiful. Arthur. Anyone trying to impress the Lady Vivian does so at extreme peril. Olaf have their head in a vat of hot oil before they'd have a chance to say hello. Besides, she's not my type. She may be beautiful, but she's incredibly rude. You should have heard what she said to Gwen. Merlin. Anyone insulting Gwen should do so at extreme peril. Arthur. What? Merlin. Nothing. I just know how you feel about her, that's all. That is, if your feelings haven't changed, as I presume they haven't. Arthur. I do have my own vat of hot oil, you know. Merlin. Laughs. You're blushing. Arthur. No, I'm not. Merlin. What's wrong with Gwen? Arthur. Nothing. Merlin. I think she's very worthy of your love. Arthur. Indeed, were it so. Merlin. Which it is. Arthur. Merlin. Merlin. Yes, Arthur. Arthur. Get out. Merlin. Yes, sire. Merlin smiles and leaves. King's Palace, Banquet Hall, night. Trickler breathes fire. Trickler. But it is not enough to please just the gentlemen of the court. Now I have a spectacle for the ladies. Trickler produces butterflies out of nowhere. Uther. It is skill, indeed. King aligned. We aim to please. Trickler. Gasp. But what is this? Lady Vivian. Trickler puts his hand by her ear and pulls it back to reveal a butterfly on his hand. Trickler. It has mistaken you for a beautiful flower. Trickler looks down at his hand, revealing that he's taken a lock of her hair. King's Palace, Align's guest chambers, day. Trickler creates a potion with Vivian's hair. Trickler. Leaf he aon he aweka. Be hish hyth at he her son mot anna off t on eelman. King aligned. Sleep well, Prince Arthur. When you wake, may your thoughts be only of Vivian. Trickler sneaks into Arthur's chambers and pours eye drops on him while he sleeps. Trickler. Heo half in heorte. Trickler places Vivian's lock of hair under Arthur's pillow. Trickler. Sweet dreams. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Arthur stares out his window at Lady Vivian scolding a servant in the square. Merlin. Good morning, sire. Arthur. Never have you been more right, Merlin. It is the sunniest, the most fragrant, the most beautiful morning I've ever seen in my life. Merlin. You're dressed. Arthur. I am the future king of Camelot. I do have some skills, you know. Merlin. Indeed, you are very skilled at getting people to do things for you. Arthur. That is your job, but today my job is to woo. Merlin. To what? Arthur. To woo. I wish to make a proclamation of love. Merlin. Really? I thought you wanted to keep your feelings secret. Arthur. Why would I want to do that? By the end of today I will have won my lady. Merlin. Right. Well, what will you tell your father? Arthur. What does my father matter? Merlin. Well, that's one way of approaching things. Arthur. So, I need your help in expressing my feelings. Merlin. Of course. Arthur waits for Merlin to say something. Merlin waits uncertainly for Arthur to explain. Arthur. How to express my feelings. Merlin. Oh, I see. Feelings. Arthur. Feelings. Merlin. Girls. Arthur. Girls. Merlin. Flowers. Arthur. Excellent. Find some. Perhaps you should also send a note. Merlin. Brilliant idea. Arthur. Something moving. Something from the heart. Something. You'll think of something. Gwen's house, day. Merlin approaches Gwen's door with flowers and knocks before going in. Merlin. Gwen. Gwen. Gwen isn't home, so Merlin places flowers on the table and remembers to pull out the note. Merlin. The barriers that keep us apart are nothing compared to the power of true love. Arthur. Merlin mulls over his own brilliance before placing the note carefully next to the flowers. King's Palace, Council Chamber of Doom, day. The kings gather for peace talks. Uther. Your demands are noted and will be taken into consideration in due course. In the meantime, is there anyone else who has any other comments about the northern territories? Merlin enters and gets Arthur's attention. King Olaf. Well, may I just point out that King's Palace, Courtyard Corridor, Day. Arthur talks with Merlin. Arthur. Did you do it? Merlin. I left them in her room. I thought that was better than a public display. Arthur. You're sure she got them? Merlin. I'm sure she will get them. Arthur. Good. All we can do now is wait. Arthur sees Gwen and Vivian walking down the other end of the corridor. Arthur. Oh, but heaven has blessed me. She's even more beautiful than before, don't you agree? Merlin. Yeah. I'm surprised to hear you talk so openly. Arthur. Nonsense. I want to tell the world. I want to shout it across the kingdom. Merlin. Are you sure that's a good idea? I understand your feelings, but other people may object. Arthur. Object. To what? Merlin. Well, you're the future king of Camelot and she's just a lowly serving girl. Albeit, a very nice serving girl. Arthur slaps Merlin. Merlin. Ah. Arthur. Lady Vivian's of royal blood, a future queen. I will have your head if I hear such insolence again. Arthur storms off. Merlin. Lady Vivian. Oh, no. Gwen's house, Day. Merlin bursts in. Gwen quickly covers up the note she's reading. The flowers are in a vase. Gwen. Merlin, can't you knock? Merlin. Rats. Gwen. What? Merlin. Big, hairy, sharp teeth. Or, yeah, definitely under here. Merlin ducks under the table. Gwen peeks under the table. Gwen. Are you feeling all right? Merlin. Me. Never better. You. Gwen. I'm having a very surprising day. Merlin. Really? Gwen. You know, one of those occasions when you've lost all hope and then, out of the blue, something happens to restore your faith. Merlin. Sort of. Gwen. Well, that's what's happened to me today. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, Night. Merlin. I may have caused a problem, although it wasn't entirely my doing. Gaius. What now, Merlin? Merlin. Arthur's in love. Gaius. And how did you cause that? Merlin. That bit isn't my fault, the other bit is. Oh, I can't tell you about that bit. Gaius. Clear as mud. Merlin. Arthur's completely besotted, he can't concentrate on anything. All he thinks about, all he talks about is the Lady Vivian. Gaius. The Lady Vivian? How could that have happened so suddenly? Merlin. I don't know. Something doesn't feel right. Only yesterday he dismissed her as rude. Gaius. If Arthur professes his love for Vivian, Olaf will be furious. Surely, Arthur knows that. Merlin sighs and nods. Merlin. See, he said it was his job to woo his lady by the end of the day. Gaius. And it's your job to stop him. King's Palace, Vivian's guest chambers, night. Arthur stands outside with a platter and a rose. He takes a breath before knocking. Lady Vivian. Who is it? Arthur. It is Destiny, my love. Destiny and chicken. Vivian opens the door. Arthur. What a beautiful combination, eh? Vivian closes the door in his face and begins to walk away. Arthur opens the door. Arthur. The beans are a little cold, but the meat is very good. Lady Vivian. Go away. Arthur. My love, I do not know what I've done to offend you. Lady Vivian. Your love. Not now, nor ever. Arthur. Come now. Lady Vivian. My father will kill you if he finds you here. Arthur. Your father does not worry me, Lady Vivian. You won't be saying that when he's running at you with a knife in his hand. I've seen it before. Arthur. Really? Lady Vivian. Yes. She shuts the doors again. Arthur. Just 5 minutes. Knox asterisk, Merlin. My lord. I don't think your advances are welcome. Lady Vivian. Muffled, go away. And take your chicken with you. Arthur. Don't know what gives you that impression. Arthur shoves the tray at Merlin. Trickler sees them leave. King's Palace, Aligned's guest chambers, night. Aligned pounds the table with his fists. King Aligned. Diet. Every woman in the land is attracted to this boy. I'm almost attracted to him myself. Trickler giggles, but stops when he sees Aligned's expression. Trickler. Oh. Not Lady Vivian, my lord, King Aligned. We have until the end of tomorrow to scupper these talks. I need war, do you understand? Trickler. Oh, yes, I do, King Aligned. Peace will make me poor, and you know what happens to poor kings. They can't afford castles, or knights, or jesters. Trickler. Oh, but master. King Aligned. Enough. There will be time for sniveling when the axe is over your head. Now there is work to be done. Trickler. Yes. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Arthur sulks in bed. Arthur. Go on, Merlin. Say it. Merlin. What? Arthur. You do not think I should pursue my love? Merlin. Well, seeing as you asked, I think a number of things stand in the way of a happy union between you and the Lady Vivian. Her bloodthirsty father, for one. Arthur. Her complete lack of interest for another. Merlin. Might it be worthwhile returning to your old love? Although, I have my reservations about that as well. Arthur. What are you talking about, Merlin? I don't have an old love. Arthur finds Vivian's hair under his pillow. Arthur. What on earth? You really need to start paying attention to the details. King's Palace, Physician's chambers, night. Gaius inspects the lock of hair. Merlin. I knew something wasn't right. Gaius. Arthur's enchanted. Merlin. I should have realized he had magic. No one can make butterflies appear from thin air. Gaius. Trickler. Merlin. Why would he want Arthur to fall in love with Vivian? Gaius. An advance by Arthur would be a surefire way to ruin the peace conference. Maybe Aligned wants war. Merlin. Without creating it himself. Gaius. It's the sort of cowardly behavior you would expect from him. Cowardly, but clever. Merlin. We need to find a way of turning Arthur back to normal. Gaius. Before it's too late. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Trickler takes a scissors to Arthur's hair. Arthur turns in his sleep, cradling Trickler's arm. Arthur. Lady Vivian, my love. Trickler mouths my love, Vivian, and rolls his eyes while extracting his arm. Trickler places lock of Arthur's under Vivian's pillow and pours a drop of potion into her eye. King's Palace, Physician's chambers, day. Merlin sleeps on a pile of books. Gaius. Breakfast. Merlin. There are over 636 love spells in these books, and over 150 of them involve a lock of hair. Gaius. Is there no way we can narrow them down a bit? Merlin. I have. Look. If I choose this one and it's wrong, Arthur will end up as a toad. And if this one's wrong, Vivian will lose all her hair. Gaius. Olaf might not declare war for that, but she certainly would. King's Palace, corridor, day. Trickler watches Gwen walking down the corridor with a breakfast tray. Trickler. Flea Regal. The rug pulls out from under Gwen. She trips and squeals as the tray goes flying. Trickler. Oops, King's Palace, Vivian's guest chambers, day. Vivian opens her door and Trickler presents her with a food platter. Trickler. Gwen has been detained. I thought you might appreciate breakfast. Lady Vivian. Oh, thank you. How kind. I'm so happy this morning, I could almost forget to eat. Oh, well, that looks wonderful. Really wonderful. Trickler. Pray, my lady. What has caused such happiness? Lady Vivian. I cannot tell, so do not ask. Trickler. Intriguing. You know, another meaning of jester is keeper of secrets. Lady Vivian. Really? Trickler. No, giggle. Lady Vivian. Giggle. Oh, Trickler, you mustn't tell. Not a soul, especially not my father. Trickler. Go on, Lady Vivian. I am in love, giggle. Trickler. Gasp. How wonderful. With me. Vivian giggles for a moment, then grimaces at the thought. Lady Vivian. With a man more courageous than a lion,
stronger than an ox, and so perfectly formed it is as if he has been sculpted by the gods themselves.
Trickler. But it must be me. Lady Vivian. Oh, just to speak his name brings me pleasure, indeed. Asterisk giggle asterisk. Trickler. Then speak it you should. Lady Vivian. Arthur. Giggle, there, I've said it. My heart belongs to Arthur.
Trickler. Excellent. Lady Vivian. Giggle. In fact, I'm gonna tell him now. Trickler. Oh, a brilliant idea.
Lady Vivian. Where is Gwen? I must dress. Trickler. But you look so beautiful, my lady. He turns her towards the mirror. Trickler. How could he refuse you like this, Lady Vivian? In my nightgown. Trickler. Why not? Vivian turns and puffs out her chest. Lady Vivian. King's Palace, Main Square, day. Gwen walks past Arthur. He pets his horse absent-mindedly while he mopes. Gwen. What is it, Arthur? You look like you have something on your mind. Arthur. Sigh. You read me like a book. I've made a fool of myself, that's all. That's everything. Gwen. That is not true. Arthur. You have a good heart, Guinevere, but I'm afraid it is. I have made a gesture, but it was not well received. Gwen. You sure? Arthur. Pretty sure. Gwen. Then you are wrong. Arthur. You are very close to the lady in question.
Gwen lets out a puff of laughter. Gwen. Your token was much appreciated. But the situation is delicate, and it is not always easy to express what is really in one's heart. Arthur. You think there's hope. Gwen, there is always hope.
Arthur. If only I had some way of knowing. Gwen. Indeed, my lord. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Someone knocks on Arthur's door. Merlin answers. Lady Vivian. I wish to see Arthur, your master, my lord. Merlin. Your what? Lady Vivian. My heart's delight. Merlin. Oh, no, Lady Vivian. Where is he? Merlin. He's not here, which is a very good thing, I believe. Lady Vivian. Then I shall wait. Merlin. I don't think that's a good idea. You're not even dressed. Lady Vivian. My love does not care what I wear, only that I am near. Now fetch him. Merlin. I cannot. Lady Vivian, you will. Merlin. Shan't. Lady Vivian. As he commands you, I command you. Merlin. I am asking you to leave. Lady Vivian. I want my love. I need my love. I want to see him now. Vivian climbs onto Arthur's bed, smells his pillow, and buries her face in his sheets. King's Palace, Council Chamber of Doom, day. Uther. Moving on to our final point for discussion. Trickler whispers to a servant by the door, who goes to Olaf.
Uther. The boundaries of the Eastern Territories.
King Olaf. This is a point that I am willing to concede. Uther. Well, that is very good news. Servant, whisper.
Excuse me, sire. King Olaf. To Uther. One moment, servant. I heard your daughter is.
King Olaf. What? King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day.
Lady Vivian arranges herself on Arthur's bed. King Olaf. Distant. Where is he? Merlin.
What's that? Merlin peeks out into the corridor and sees Arthur coming. Merlin. Oh, no. Merlin looks the other way and sees Olaf coming. Merlin. Oh, no. Merlin ducks back inside and runs to Vivian.
Merlin. Okay, you need to go. Lady Vivian. You cannot keep us apart. It's written in the stars. Vivian and Arthur. A love for all time. A love stronger than time. A love.
Merlin. Stop. Sweffe nu. Vivian is knocked out. Arthur enters just as Merlin closes the wardrobe. Arthur. Why are you hanging around with a bad smell? It's me who needs to bathe. I'm not going to win my love stinking like an old kipper. Merlin. No, my lord. King Olaf. Where is he? I know she's in here, Arthur. Hand her over, or feel my wrath. Arthur. What's he talking about? Trickler, she wasn't even dressed. Arthur. If I have dishonored you in some way, then, by all means, provide me with proof and I'll face the consequences. King Olaf. Trickler here has told me that the Lady Vivian is in your chambers. Arthur. If only that were true. Olaf grabs the front of Arthur's shirt with both hands. Merlin. If only that were true you would not look so foolish. Olaf lets him go. King Olaf. Search the room. You better hope I don't find her. Merlin. By Heps Faust. The wardrobe door locks. Trickler goes to it and tries to open it. Merlin. That hasn't opened in years. Olaf grabs Trickler. King Olaf. You buffoon. You made an idiot out of me. Olaf shoves Trickler, who scurries out of the room. Olaf turns to Arthur. King Olaf. I am, so terribly sorry, Arthur, to have disturbed you. I do hope that you will forgive me. Arthur waves at the apology. King Olaf. Check on the Lady Vivian, and remain outside her room. Olaf and guards exit. Arthur. If only the Lady Vivian were in my room. How delightful that would be. Merlin. 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 King's Palace, Vivian's guest chambers, day. Merlin flops Vivian onto her own guest bed. King's Palace, Aligned's guest chambers, day. Trickler reports to Aligned. Trickler. It's that meddlesome Merlin. He's on to us, my lord. There was nothing I could do. You do understand, master? Say you forgive your boy. King Aligned. You have a matter of hours before the peace treaty is signed. Trickler. That is time enough, master, time enough. King Aligned. It's less time than you've had already, and you haven't managed it so far. Trickler. But the enchantment is strong, my lord. Sooner or later, the two will be drawn together. Aligned grabs Trickler's face. King Aligned. For the sake of your prettiest feature, you had better believe that to be the case. King's Palace, Arthur's corridor, day. Gwen slips a note under Arthur's door and leaves with a smile. King's Palace, Council Chamber of Doom, night. Uther. This is, indeed, a momentous day for the Five Kingdoms. This peace treaty's been long in the making, but I know you must all be keen to return to your families, so we will make preparation for the signing ceremony immediately. I am pleased, friends, very pleased. King Aligned. As are we all. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, night. Merlin snaps a book shut. Merlin. That's it, I've got it. Gaius. Are you sure? You're not going to turn Arthur into a hunchback camel or a horny-eyed toad. Merlin. I'll, save that for another day. King's Palace, Arthur's Chambers, night. Arthur opens Gwen's note in his chambers. Arthur. A second chance. Sunset. I'll await your presence. Gwen's house, night. Gwen prepares for Arthur's visit. King's Palace, corridor, main square, Vivian's guest chambers, night.
Arthur walks down the red ribbon corridor with a rose, sees guards, hides the rose, and looks for another way to sneak into Vivian's chambers. Ends up scaling the wall in the square and falling in through the window with the mangled red rose in his mouth.
Arthur. Sigh, at last. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Merlin searches the palace. He pokes his head in Arthur's chambers. Merlin. Arthur. Arthur. Gwen's house, night. Gwen waits for Arthur. King's Palace, banquet hall, night. The kings in court wait for Arthur at the treaty signing in the hall of ceremonies.
Night. To Uther. I cannot find Arthur.
King Aligned. Is there a problem, Uther? Uther. No, not at all. Arthur's just running a little late, that's all. King Aligned. As is the Lady Vivian. King's Palace, Vivian's guest chambers, night. Arthur sits next to Vivian as she wakes. Lady Vivian. My love. Arthur, always, forever. They launch at each other, kissing furiously. Merlin runs in. Merlin. Abu Jagleekcraft, nothing happens. Merlin. Abu Jagleekcraft, nothing happens. Merlin. Abu Jagleekcraft, nothing happens. Olaf storms in followed by Aligned, Uther, and Trickler. King Olaf. I knew it. Merlin. I don't believe it. Lady Vivian. Father. We've got something to tell you. Uther. Arthur. Olaf throws his glove at the foot of the bed.
Lady Vivian. Father. King Olaf. You once said that if you ever truly offended my honor, then you would happily pay the price. What say you now, Prince Arthur?
Arthur. How have I offended your honor? Surely not with my love alone. King Olaf. Love. You don't know the first thing about love. You're taking advantage of an innocent girl. Lady Vivian. Father. Uther. Arthur. Arthur. I assure you, my feelings for your daughter are as real as they are strong. King Olaf. Unhand her, or suffer the consequences. Is this really worth risking your life for? Lady Vivian. Arthur. Arthur. Indeed, it is. I would rather die than deny my feelings. I love your daughter with all my heart. Arthur kisses Vivian and picks up the glove. Gwen's house, night. Gwen sadly blows out the last candle, removing her shawl. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Uther. It's no good. I've spoken to Olaf, he will not rescind the challenge. He says his honor has been tainted. He demands recompense. Arthur. You didn't have to do that, father. Uther. The fight is to the death. What did you think you were doing?
Arthur. You cannot help who you fall in love with. Uther. You do realize that your actions threaten the peace talks, and that it may yet bring war to Camelot. Arthur. I am happy to fight for what I believe in. Uther turns to Merlin. Uther. What's happened to him? Arthur. Lady Vivian. Nothing more. And yet, who could wish for more? Uther throws up his hands and leaves. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, Day. Merlin. I don't understand it. Tricolor's magic is strong, but surely it can't be stronger than mine. Gaius. These love potions are strange things. Merlin. We need to go to Uther. Gaius. No. Merlin. It's a fight to the death. Gaius. If Uther realizes that one of the kings is using magic, there will certainly be a war. The only way out of this situation is to unenchant Arthur. And unenchant him fast. King's Palace, Morgana's Chambers, Day. Morgana watches the lower town from her window as people make their way to the tournament grounds. Gwen enters to collect the laundry. Gwen. Anything interesting? Morgana. Haven't you heard? Arthur was discovered in Lady Vivian's chambers. Gwen. What? Morgana. King Olaf has demanded recompense. They are to fight to the death. All for the love of a woman. And Lady Vivian at that. You look more shocked than I did. Gwen. It is very surprising. Morgana. Well, I don't know why he couldn't control his feelings. Gwen. Indeed, I will miss the tourney, if you don't mind. There's so much to organize here. Morgana. But of course, King's Palace, Corridor, Day. Gwen passes Arthur and Merlin in the corridor. Arthur. Ah, Guinevere. You will wish me luck. Gwen. Will I? Arthur, haven't you heard? Gwen. Oh, yes. I've heard. Though sadly not from your lips. I wish you could have been more honest with me, Arthur. Arthur. To Merlin, what is she talking about?
Merlin. No idea. King's Palace, Align's Guest Chambers, Day. Tricolor brings King Aligned his crown. Tricolor.
You are pleased, my lord. Do I get to keep my fingers?
King Aligned. Tricolor, I shall cast your fingers in gold. I could not have wished for more. Tricolor. I told you I would not fail you, my lord. King Aligned. If Olaf kills Arthur, then Uther will start a war. If Arthur kills Olaf, then his men will start a war. Laughs, we cannot lose. Tournament grounds, Day. Uther. King Olaf has demanded recompense. And by the ancient laws of Camelot, the matter will be settled by a tourney with 3 stages. The weapons chosen are quarterstaff, mace, and sword. The fight will be by the knight's rules, and to the death. Are we all clear? Arthur starts out doing well, but stops to gaze at Vivian. Olaf takes Arthur out at the knees, and later breaks Arthur's quarterstaff, catching Arthur in the ribs. Tournament grounds, Arthur's tent, Day. Gaius inspects Arthur in the tent. Gaius. One of your ribs is broken, sire. Arthur. Nothing can hurt me today. I'm invincible. Love really can conquer all, Gaius. It's true. Gaius. Whisper to Merlin. This can't go on. The fight's not fair. Arthur's head's in the clouds. Merlin. Whisper. I don't know what to do. Gaius. Whisper. Then find someone who does. King's Palace, Dragon's Cave, Day. Kilgara. Laughs. This is magic indeed. Merlin. Everything I have tried has failed. Kilgara. From what you tell me, the spell has captured his heart. Merlin. And his heart is controlling his brain. Kilgara. There is no magic that can break this enchantment. Merlin. There must be. Kilgara. It has too great a hold. Merlin. I cannot let Arthur die. Kilgara. Patience, young warlock. The solution lies in a force greater than you or I can understand, a force that has puzzled many minds. Merlin. Please, I have very little time. Kilgara. A force. Merlin. Just tell me. Kilgara laughs some more. Kilgara. Why, it is the greatest force of all. Love. Merlin. Love. Kilgara. You must find the person Arthur truly loves. Merlin. And then what? Kilgara. One kiss from her will break the enchantment, and he will desire Vivian no more.
Merlin sighs, nods, and leaves in a hurry.
Tournament grounds, Arthur's tent, Day.
Arthur prepares for the next bout. Gaius. Are you sure you can carry on, sire? Arthur.
As long as I have Vivian to gaze at, I can conquer the world. Besides, the mace is my forte. You'll see. Arthur being pummeled by Olaf in the arena. Gwen's house, Day. Merlin bursts into Gwen's house without knocking while she's staring out the window. Gwen. Rats again, Merlin. Merlin. What? No, I need your help. Arthur needs your help. Gwen. I do not think that Arthur needs me. Merlin. Gwen, don't worry. I know. Gwen, you know what? Merlin. Everything. Anyone who spends 5 minutes with you can see how you feel about each other. Look, I do not have a lot of time to explain, so you are gonna have to trust me. Arthur does love you. Gwen. No, he doesn't. Merlin. If you don't trust me, trust your feelings. Gwen. Scoff. I'm never trusting my feelings again. Merlin. He's enchanted. Gwen. Yes, with Lady Vivian. I can see that. Merlin. No, I mean literally enchanted with magic, potions, love juice. None of his feelings are genuine. Gwen. How can you be sure? When I saw him, his feelings seemed real enough. Merlin. Gwen, none of his feelings for Vivian are real. But if you do not break the spell, his death will be. Search your heart. You know who he loves. Tournament grounds, Arthur's tent, day. Olaf continues to pummel Arthur. He's about to finish Arthur with his mace when the gong is rung. Gwen strides purposefully towards Arthur's tent, pausing to take a deep breath before passing Gaius on her way inside. Arthur. Ah. Have you finally come to wish me good luck? 'Cause I really don't think I need it anymore. Gwen. No, Arthur. I have not come to wish you luck. Arthur. Well, honestly, that's rather rude. Gwen. Then let me make amends. Gwen pins Arthur up against the tent pole and kisses him. He looks confused for a moment before closing his eyes and kissing her back. They put their arms around each other as Arthur dips her. They pull apart and Arthur cringes at his newly discovered injuries. Arthur. What am I doing? Gwen. Whisper. You're in a fight. To the death. You're losing. Arthur. But. Gwen. Whisper. There's no time to explain. Just. Live for me, Arthur. That's all I ask right now. Tournament grounds, day. Arthur approaches arena with Merlin. Arthur sees Gwen climb into the stands. Arthur. Merlin, if anything should happen to me, look after Gwen. The world may think she is just a servant, dispensable, but she's not dispensable to me.
Merlin smiles and hands Arthur his helmet. Arthur and Olaf fight. Arthur cringes in pain, but catches sight of Gwen and pushes past the pain. Olaf knocks Arthur to the ground, but Arthur flips Olaf, disarming him. Arthur stands above him, poised to strike, then lowers his sword.
Arthur. This is no way to achieve peace. Arthur offers Olaf a hand to help him up. The crowd cheers. Arthur nods to Gwen. Gwen smiles. Gwen's house, day. Gwen enters her house to find a note and a red rose on her kitchen table. Arthur's waits in the corner.
Arthur. I thought I'd better deliver it myself this time. I'm sorry. For what I put you through.
Gwen. No, you have nothing to apologize for. I, too, have caused my fair share of hurt. Arthur. You must believe that my feelings for Vivian were not real. I have never loved another.
Gwen. One day you will. One day you will find your real princess. One day you will be king of Camelot. And I cannot be your queen.
Arthur. You don't know that. Gwen. I am as sure of that as you are.
Arthur. Things may change. Gwen. Well, until they do, bows.
My lord. Arthur leaves. Gwen turns around and sighs. King's palace, courtyard corridor, day. Uther walks down the corridor with Olaf. King Olaf. Your boy has a very wise head on his shoulders. Uther. Yeah. King Olaf. I doubt he gets that from you. Uther. Ha. I hope these events will not harm our peace treaty. King Olaf. Oh, I believe that Vivian was as much to blame as Arthur. Vivian wiping her eyes as she descends the palace steps with another lady. King Olaf. I'll take her away from temptation. She's far too young to encounter such things. Yes, I go in peace. Uther. I'm very pleased to hear that. Aligned tugs on Trickler's manacle chains in the square. King Aligned. This is more than you deserve, boy. You will run all the way home. Trickler. That's not possible, master. King Aligned.
Make it possible, Uther. Why so cross-aligned?
Arthur. Anyone would think you didn't want peace. King Aligned. But of course I do. Peace, love it. Uther. Well, you may return any time to view the treaty. King Aligned. You're very kind. Aligned nudges his horse to walk, dragging Trickler behind him. Teary-eyed Vivian walks by escorted by her father. Lady Vivian. We may return, too. Uther. You're always welcome. Lady Vivian. My heart will remain, and I hope to join it soon. Arthur gives an uncomfortable nod and wave before turning to walk inside with Merlin. Arthur. Not too soon. Merlin. No might conflict with your one true love. Arthur. My what? Merlin. You heard me. I have proof. Arthur. Proof. Merlin. You kissed her. In the tent. Arthur. Merlin. Merlin. Yes. Arthur. What happened in the tent? Merlin. Arthur. Speak of it again and I'll kill you. Merlin. Okay.